Playing in the snow definitely doesn't prevent big fantasy numbers. Hi, my name is Frank Ober, and this is week 15 of my weekly fantasy football preview. Quarterbacks Josh Allen of the Buffalo Bills and Joe Burrow of the Cincinnati Bengals excelled in the snow as Josh Allen accounted for 329 yards and 4 touchdowns, while Joe Burrow passed for 284 yards and 4 touchdowns. Not to be outdone, quarterback Shedeur Sanders of the Cleveland Browns had 393 total yards and 4 touchdowns. His top receiver and number one tight end this week was Harold Fannin Jr., who had 8 catches for 114 yards and a touchdown. Another fantasy game with big stars was the Los Angeles Rams at the Arizona Cardinals that featured the top 2 wide receivers. Puka Nacua of the Rams had 7 catches for 167 yards and 2 touchdowns. Hard to believe, but this was the first career multi-touchdown game for Puka. Michael Wilson of the Cardinals had 11 catches for 142 yards and 2 touchdowns. Another top producer in this game was running back Blake Corum of the Rams, who rushed for 128 yards and 2 touchdowns. Other top running backs included Jahmyr Gibbs of the Detroit Lions, who had 120 total yards and 3 touchdowns, and Tony Pollard of the Tennessee Titans, who had a career game with 161 scrimmage yards and 2 touchdowns. Brandon Aubrey of the Dallas Cowboys was the top place kicker in Week 14 as he kicked 5 field goals, including kicks from 55, 57, and 63 yards. He is the first place kicker in NFL history with 3 field goals of 55 or more yards in a single game. He is also the first place kicker to kick 3 field goals of 60 yards or more in a single season. Cameron Dicker of the Los Angeles Chargers also kicked 5 field goals in the Chargers' overtime win against the Philadelphia Eagles. And it is also worth noting that place kicker Jason Myers of the Seattle Seahawks has kicked at least 3 field goals in 5 consecutive games. Several teams had solid defensive performances, including the Philadelphia Eagles, Los Angeles Chargers, Seattle Seahawks, Miami Dolphins, Buffalo Bills, Detroit Lions, Denver Broncos, and the Minnesota Vikings, who shut out the Washington Commanders. A number of injuries occurred as we go into the fantasy football playoffs. Quarterback Daniel Jones of the Indianapolis Colts tore his Achilles tendon and is done for the year. With this injury, a promising season is slipping away from the Colts. Quarterback Jayden Daniels of the Washington Commanders aggravated his elbow injury. However, the team states that he could have returned to action. Also injured were quarterback Tyrod Taylor of the New York Jets with a groin injury and quarterback Geno Smith of the Las Vegas Raiders with a hand injury. 3 running backs that suffered injuries include Devon Achane of the Miami Dolphins with a rib injury, although he was available to return according to the team. Nick Chubb of the Houston Texans also suffered a rib injury, and Keaton Mitchell of the Baltimore Ravens has a knee injury. After a huge first half, wide receiver CeeDee Lamb of the Dallas Cowboys sustained a concussion Thursday against the Detroit Lions, and wide receiver T. Higgins of the Cincinnati Bengals, who just returned from a concussion, has re-entered the concussion protocol. On the tight end front, Zach Ertz of the Washington Commanders is lost for the year with a torn ACL. The Week 15 schedule starts with the Atlanta Falcons visiting the Tampa Bay Buccaneers on Thursday night. With the fantasy football's playoffs starting, there are no more buys scheduled. Make sure you track the health of your players, check the inactive reports prior to game time so you can adjust your lineup accordingly. Please check out my article for players to start in Week 15, and good luck in Round 1 of the playoffs.